I was doing some content stuff and I hit a wall on that, and there was no way I could just not. I think I even told you, like, I got on to do a podcast episode, a solo episode, and I literally started recording for like 10 minutes and then just turned it off and deleted it all and like stopped doing it. I was like, I just can't do it right now. Which then for me turned into a musical block of like, I felt like I was just sitting at my computer, not making anything interesting. How was your long drive?
It was long. It was from Seattle to Nashville. It was 5 days. So it was 5 hours the first day, and then 8 hours every day for the next 4 days. So
I called you on like what, day 2?
I think it was like
that.
day 2 or day 3.
Yeah.
I honestly, at that point, that was the point where I started getting loopy, and I'm just like,
you were just zoned.
I was telling people there's a point where like you're driving so much to the point where like the way you kind of internalize, like when you're settled and you're just like, oh, that's like 20 minutes away. Let's just drive to that real quick. Or oh, that's a little long. It's like 30 minutes, whatever. My brain was starting to do that for like an hour 30, 2 hours. So I'm like, oh, it's just 2 hours away. That's fine.
I've always wanted to do like a big East Coast to West Coast drive.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine named Ryan, shout out Ryan Lau, who did that. He drove from Greenville he went to the Bethel Music School, and he drove there, which is like North California, which is pretty long.
Yeah.
It's not quite as long as, actually, it might be about what you did, similar to what you did.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, similar to what you did, actually, because you had to go more up. But yeah, he was like, it was basically like 2 or 3. If I didn't stop, it was 2 or 3 days of straight driving.
Yeah.
And I think he had a friend go with him, I think, and he just like slept in the car while the other person drove, and they like took turns and made it in a couple days. But yeah, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to go to, I read a lot of fantasy books, and every year Brandon Sanderson has like his own con basically that he does now, and it's in like Salt Lake City, I want to say, and I've always thought about driving to that, but it seems very, very far.
Yeah, you do have to kind of like prepare yourself for it a bit. By the end of it, I kind of had a system of like, okay, I'm going to wake up as early as I can, eat a pretty light breakfast, fill up with gas wherever I'm at, drive for 2 hours. In that 2 hours, there will probably be a podcast episode and a full album. That's the first shift. Then like maybe break, get out for like 15 minutes, or I could like go a little bit longer in the morning, then do another shift, like another podcast episode, another album. That's kind of around stopping for lunchtime, give yourself like an hour rest because you're at the halfway point. Then go and do another 2 hours, another podcast episode, another album. And then by the end of that last 2 hours is torturous.
So you did like 3 albums a day, basically?
No, legit. I did like 3 to 4 like albums and podcast episodes.
So like
a day.
15 to 20 albums and about 15 to 20 podcasts.
Yeah.
For the whole
sometimes
time.
I would choose like a really long podcast episode.
Okay. Like a 2-hour one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like minute for minute. Also, sometimes an album was like an hour. Sometimes they were 30 minutes.
That's true. Or like his EP or something.
I remember you had a moment where you're just like, hey, have you ever had like a moment to like sit alone with your thoughts or something like that for a bit? And I was like, no, not a whole lot of time, just like an hour or so.
Just a little bit.
Because like in my mind, an hour of dead silence wasn't that much time.
Yeah. It's more than most people take, actually.
Okay.
It's more than most people take. So, okay, how did you listen to 15, 20 albums? Let's talk about them. What did you do? What did you listen to? And what were your rankings?
I'm trying to remember I should have kept track of all of them.
Yeah.
The ones that I remember off the top of my head that I really enjoyed the most was the Bishu album, the micro celebrity.
Yeah, you turned me on to that one, and I started listening to it literally after our phone call, and I was like, yeah, this is really, really good. This is really, really good.
Yeah, if anybody wants to check it out, it's like somebody who grew up listening to Skrillex and then wanted to make a pop album.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. I think I listened to the Breakins record again.
Mm-hmm.
The I think at a certain point, like in the first few days, I was just listening to like comfort albums and like comfort podcasts. So
Yeah.
like, because it was a big life change. So I think I was going to a lot of like my old favorites, like the first 1975 record or
Classic.
the Gautier record that I talked about before.
Yeah.
So
Underrated.
it wasn't. I needed some form of stability.
Sure.
So it's not like I was looking for like crazy new music to like challenge me.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think I listened to like the new John Mark McMillan record.
What a great record too, dude. Hey, you saw him last night, didn't you?
I saw him last night, his last show in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, he posted on Instagram because I knew that he was on tour for this record with Citizens, which by the way, shout out Citizens, Seattle boys.
Yeah.
None of them are in Seattle anymore.
No, but they crushed, dude. They're so good.
They were so good. But yeah, they like posted on Instagram. I literally like landed in Nashville, unpacked everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Like the next day I see John McMillan post. And for anybody who doesn't know, like he plays a very special part in like my story. At least his music does. And he's like, this is my last tour ever. After this, I'm not touring anymore because I'm like getting old and I don't want to do this anymore. And like a couple days, like a week later, was like his last show in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it wasn't close. It was in Knoxville. So I had to drive from
3 hours
Nashville to Knoxville last night and then back.
No
but then I had almost trained myself to like, okay, now I can do the long drive.
I was about to say, that's child's play by comparison to what you just done. So
that was the moment where I was like, okay, I've already trained myself for this, so I might as well just go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think also there's just been a couple of points in my life where I've chosen to not go to a show and have regretted it. And I'm like, having one of those experiences, you're just like, dude, I could have seen 22 a million era Bon Iver very easily.
Before he was still big at that point, but before he was like even stratospheric by that point.
Here one second, I'm turning my gain down on my microphone.
You're fine.
I've been clipping a lot.
He was definitely stratospheric post that album.
Yeah, and it's like that's for so many people I know who are like producers or songwriters, that's like their favorite album from him. And I could have seen him perform it live when I was in Canada, and I chose not to. And that has haunted any time. Like, because even since then, that record has now become one of my favorite records or my favorite Bon Iver record. And now anytime it's like, oh, should I go to the show? Should I not go to the show? It's like, you don't want to regret this. Like you regret not seeing Bon Iver.
Yeah.
And I end up talking myself into it.
I feel like as you get a little bit older in life, it's like you start looking back at all of the things that you like said no to. And some of them you're like, I'm glad I said no to that. But then some of those things that you look at, you're like, dang, I really wish I would have like, so for instance, I had an opportunity to go to Shaky Knees one year with my buddy Ian, and they all got Shaky Knees tattoos that year. And it was the year that if you got a Shaky Knees tattoo, you got free entrance to the festival for life. Yeah.
Dang.
So I was like, dang, it would have been really, all I had to do was get something like small on my ankle or on my leg or on my shoulder or something, just free entrance for life. And Circus Survive like headlined a stage that year, and it was and I was like, they're one of my favorite bands like of all time, and they hadn't played in a really long time, and I was like,
I have their limited edition multicolor
in the back. Yeah, it was the year that they put out that double EP that they did, and they were playing a lot of that stuff, and I was like, golly, I missed that. But at the same time, since then, I've said yes to a lot of other things. It's actually something me and Aaron have done a lot recently, is if there's a concert we've been wanting to go to, we've kind of just said yes, bought the tickets, and then as it gets closer, like be willing to say no if we really just don't want to, or but we already have the tickets to say yes if we do, depending on who it is, obviously, and how much the tickets cost.
Yeah.
But like, so like Band of Horses is a band that I've always wanted to see, and I just got to see them like recently, and they played like a bunch of songs that I've always wanted to see them play since like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And me and my wife are big Chris Steele fans, so we saw both within a year. We saw Nickel Creek play their most recent album in full, and Punch Brothers do like a best of show, like most recently,
Yeah.
and that was so sick.
I'm
Yeah.
very jealous of my friend. I have a friend named I've produced for him. His name's Ryan McCormick,
Mhm.
and he's a pilot. So anytime there's a show in London that he wants to see, he can just go see it.
Oh, that's so
So
sick.
he just decided, oh yeah, I'm gonna go see Oasis.
At the big show that they just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he did the same thing for I think he saw, because he lives in Florida. So I think he saw Bill Murray in Florida and then just flew over to go see them play with Sleep Token.
That's crazy.
So
That's
very jealous of him.
Speaking of Sleep Token, they just played in Georgia last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, them and Thornhill, Aussie boys with them. But yeah, no, I feel like there's a lot of you kind of get those kind of shows. I mean, very similarly, we saw the 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary of Beneath the Medicine Tree, which is one of mine and my wife's favorite Copeland records. It's like the first Copeland record, and we got it, and I got like a special edition like jacket and a special edition vinyl and stuff, and I was so freaking pumped. And it was a very small room. It was like 200 cap or less room of people in Asheville. It was very, very cool. So yeah, I've tried to say yes more often to those kind of things, very similarly to what you're talking about. Like John Marmillan's coming to Greenville. That same tour is stopping in Greenville, I think, next week. My plan is to go.
Yeah.
If
those are one of those, it's one of those kind of tours.
Yeah,
too,
I've seen him before, multiple times actually. I've seen him at you remember the Live at the Night album, the live record that he did?
Yeah.
So I'm on the cover of that album in the crowd.
Let's go.
I'm on the cover. I made the cover. You can see my hat. And so I was there for that. That was really sick. And then at the church that I used to work at, we had him come in and do a concert on a tour that he was on. So that was really cool. So I got to hang out with him and all the band, and everybody was very, very kind. So that was really fun. But I want to see him on this cycle because like both of those instances were kind of in the same like Borderlands-ish area.
Yeah.
Like era of his music. And like he has since gone a little weirder and more psychedelic with a lot of his sounds and stuff.
He basically made like a psychedelic worship album.
Yeah, dude, the most recent one is really cool. Even Shama, who's like not generally into that kind of, it feels like producer fodder a little bit in a good way. You know what I mean? And like Shama's not normally into that kind of stuff. The same way 22 A Million is like a producer fodder album.
Yes.
It's like an album for dudes who like are super into making weird music.
I was texting my friend last night while I was there. I'm just like, this the joke we just kept texting each other back and forth is because I'm in like this small cramped room with like a bunch of John Mark McMillan fans.
Yeah.
And so we were like, this room smells like beard oil and Ableton users.
That's really funny. I bet you could like just swing your arm and hit 4 producers. Or everyone was probably a producer songwriter or artist of some kind.
He made a DX7 joke from the stage, and everybody knew what he was talking about.
And everybody was like, "Yeah, that's funny."
The funny thing is now those are like the cool keyboards because like McGee and like people are using the cheesy sounds on them.
Yeah, I feel like I used to have a DX7. I found in a church like 20 years ago, and I just don't know where it's at now. That puts a reminder in my head to try and find if that is what is in my closet somewhere.
At this point, you could bring it out just for the aesthetics, and it would be like great.
Sure. I don't even need the sound card. I think that would be the hard part. Is I don't even know if the sound card is in it, like the floppy disk thing.
That's the other thing. It's like a sort of side topic, but like people talking about do you go for vintage gear or do you wait for some niche gear manufacturer to make like a replica of it that's actually like
pretty good?
pretty good. Like I'm thinking the like recently JHS they just released a guitar pedal called like the 424,
Hmm.
and it's literally like a replica of a Porta Studio, like a Tascam Porta Studio preamp. And
Oh, but it's just the preamp
it's
section.
just the preamp section, but it's specifically to get that kind of McGee style, like overdriven Tascam preamp sound. But the benefit is you don't need to buy a Tascam preamp and hope that it works.
Yeah, or fix it. Yeah,
Yeah.
or get into a couple months into using it and then it just fry out or something, which is pretty common. No, very similarly. Here, I'll show you this. I got this. I don't know if you know what this is.
That
It's a
is
Casio VL Tone VL1.
is that kind of like their OP1 competitor thing?
So this is, I mean, this is like from the 60s.
Oh, okay.
This is like an original it's called a VL1 and it makes sounds like uh
Oh yeah.
it's like very 8-bitty type sounds. I got it for like $100 off of Reverb. Just because I was like, I want something old sounding, but I don't want to spend $1,000 on something old
Yeah.
sounding. So, and I was looking at some like smaller footprint monosynth things, and I found a video of a guy. I'll try to find it and drop it into the description. But it was a video of a guy showing how he uses it. He runs those through like a bunch of guitar pedals, similar to how like Austin runs a bunch of synths and
Yeah.
samples through guitar pedals. To get some really interesting sounds. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I could probably build some Ableton rack. My goal is to build some Ableton racks that function like guitar pedals for people who want to use those kind of things and then give it away. We'll see. We'll see how well that works. That sounds
Yeah.
a lot more complicated than saying that is easier than actually doing it. So we'll see. But no, well, I'm glad you made it. How's being in Nashville? Does it feel
It's
weird to finally
cool.
be there?
It's a little weird for anybody who doesn't know. The last podcast episode that I was on before we went live, we talked about how
Yeah.
I was planning on moving. So it's kind of been in the works for a while, but having it actually come to fruition has been cool. I think the main things right now that have slowly started seeping in. I'm not fully integrated yet because actually this week I'm moving again because I'm out in Lebanon, Tennessee,
Hmm.
which is kind of far out
Yeah.
from the city. And if you want to do sessions, you got to be closer than
Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm at right now. So I'm moving this week to a place that's a little bit closer.
This was just to get you there.
This was to have a spot when I landed because that's another thing is if you plan on moving to Nashville, just know like spots go
Hmm.
within like less than a week, maybe even a couple of days. And so because it's like the third fastest growing city in America right now. So the only way to like really get a spot is to either know somebody who has a free room, um, or to like basically be prowling Facebook groups, like closed Facebook groups, and checking them like twice a day, like at the morning point, at the evening point, and seeing what pops up because stuff will just disappear that quickly. And if you're not in town, you can't check stuff out. You can't see if it's a good fit for you. And it's also not a great idea to just be like, yeah, here's first and last month's rent person that I just met on Facebook.
Yeah. So this is basically the spot you're in that we're seeing right now is
Yeah.
just your landing spot. So where you said you're moving a little closer though.
Yeah. I'll be by the time I moved in next week
Mhm.
in fully integrated, I'll be more like 10 minutes from downtown. Right now
Nice.
I'm like 40 minutes.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, and the problem is if you're doing studio session stuff, you need to be like first of all, Nashville people think that 20 minutes is a long drive. So you can't be really far out from where people are, but also like depending on the kind of it's weird. Nashville's almost separated geographically into genres. So like
That's
all
funny.
all of the CCM and Christian world is southern Nashville. That's like
Yeah,
Franklin,
Brentwood,
Spring Hill,
Franklin. Yeah.
Brentwood. That's where all of the CCM people are. And the more east Nashville you go, that's where you get like the indie alternative people, all the pop people. It's where all the
Mount
cool hip.
Juliet.
Yeah. Mount Juliet is even like a little bit farther
Yeah.
out. Everybody's actually like
Hermitage and
in
Donaldson.
east. Yeah. Or like Inglewood or stuff like
Gotcha.
that. And then
Antioch, I know, is a really popular place for a lot of people to move. Well, maybe not so much anymore.
because it's sketchy and cheap.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe not so much anymore. I feel like it's getting more overrun with people. So,
but and then a lot of country music. I mean, country music's a little bit everywhere,
Sure.
but like sort of like upper and like west Nashville area. And so it's almost like depending on the kind of genre you want to work in, you need to move to a certain geographical location.
so that you could be close for sessions.
Yeah, or even just like not be super far away from people, because like
Sure.
if you're like if you are moving, let's say you want to do CCM
Yeah.
stuff, it would be really beneficial for you to be closer to Franklin.
Sure.
And it would be not really helpful for you to be in like Gallatin or something like that, because now you're just geographically far away from everybody who you would want to work with.
Sure.
So that's a weird thing you kind of have to balance out as
That's
well.
strange
as like
for me
getting
because it's like I drive like an hour. Like I'm driving an hour today just for a session, just because that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah, that's a very weird Nashville specific thing.
I feel like it's also an indicator of sort of like a bigger thing, which is like, and people have asked this before. It's like, what is the benefit of like moving to a music city in like 2025? And it's almost like, it's like the reason for what it used to be has kind of come full circle around,
being
where
extremely close to everyone.
Yeah, you're extremely close to everyone, because it used to be there's not that many musicians that are doing things at a high level in like, you know, the 40s or something like that. So if you want to be close to the industry, you got to be where like the only collection of people.
And really that was kind of true all the way up to about 2010.
Yeah. But that now it's like with AI, with all this stuff that is just generating and pumping out music. Like, yes, it can logistically pump out music, but now we have this just ocean of music. It's like, okay, now what is the distinguishing factor for what's going to get cut on a record versus what's not going to get cut on a record? And it's, how do people feel about it? What was their experience writing it? And
how connected are they to the record?
Yeah, how connected are they to the record? But also, did they just have like a fun time writing it with the people who like made it with them?
Yeah.
And so if you're, the only distinguishing factor is like, how local are you? And because if you're, I remember there's a quote that I saw from like Alice Cooper. It was in the Hired Guns documentary that he did, or that Jason Hook from Five Finger Death Punch did. But it was like, I think Alice Cooper was like, when you're trying to pick like a guitar player that can like play with me, there's like three things you have to look at. One, are you good at guitar? All right, that narrows it to like 100,000 people. A lot of people are good at guitar. Second is, can you be cool on stage in front of like 20,000 people?
Sure.
It's like that narrows it down to like maybe like a few thousand.
Yeah, let's say that's like 2% of people. 2% of guitar players.
Like, gets a little bit lower. And he's like, and then the third is, can I stand to be on a bus with you for the next year?
Yeah.
He's like, now that goes down to like 5 people.
Yeah.
And so it's almost that psychology again, where it's just like, are you good at what you do? Can you show up on time? Are you professional? And given, are you good at what you do? And then sprinkle cherry on top, oh, you're fun to be around. Like that. It's like, now you've become the ideal scenario for somebody who wants to be in sessions.
Yeah, it's funny. You just moved there, and my buddy James has been going up to Nashville a lot for songwriting sessions, and it's very interesting to see like the two different sides of kind of a similar thing, which is like you're being the very like, I want to be ingrained in this area. I want to be here all the time and be around the people and like be available, basically. And James is almost the opposite, where he's like, I do not want to be available at all. Yeah. I want to live in Greenville and I want to have, he's got relationships like A&R relationships and pub deal relationships with like Warner and UMG. And basically what he does is says, hey, I'm going to pick a week. I'm going to be in Nashville for a week, set up as many rights as you want for me to be in for that week. And I will come up there and do those rights. And then I will come back home.
Yeah.
And then I will do that once a month, which is
And
such a weirdly different way of thinking too.
Well, I think that's also a difference between like the people who have like I don't want to say like the have and have nots, but
Sure.
like there's an element of like, if you have a publishing deal, that's what a lot of people are trying to get.
Yeah, he doesn't have one yet, but he's kind of feeling both of them out for pub deals. At least that was the conversation he and I had last. Is definitely like, that's what he wants to do. I think low-key want to like sign him, and he doesn't necessarily want that. So I think he's trying to like navigate I just want to write. I don't need your money. I own a concrete company that makes plenty of money.
Yeah, that's I mean, owning concrete is a great alternative. But
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's literally just like, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve?
Sure.
And positioning yourself to do more of what you want to do. Because for me, I'm a producer and a songwriter. So I want to be in songwriting sessions a lot, but it's going to be in the producer
mindset,
role, specifically. And that's just come from like the sessions I enjoy being a part of the most. I'm kind of running the production side. But yeah, you kind of need to decide like, okay, am I going the publishing deal route where I want to be a songwriter who's just going to get transplanted into a bunch of rooms that already exist?
Yep.
Or do I want to be one of the rooms that the writers can cycle through?
Yes, for sure. And it also depends on like where you're at in your career with some of that. Because like if you are, at least from what I understand, if you are working with like a pub deal situation, they have their own studios.
Yes.
So like you're going to Warner and they have like 5 or 6 writing studios, and like you're just getting one of those. Or UMG, same kind of deal. There's like 3 or 4 studios that are those studios, and they just book it out for the writing session for the day. Whereas I feel like if you're basically not on a pub deal, or you're just doing the writing thing in a more communal way, it's more of what you're talking about, which is you can provide the room, you can provide the engineering session, you can be the producer on the session and be building the track while they're working, or obviously helping with the writing session as well. And yeah, it's a little different, I guess, depending on like where you're at in the industry or like what you're trying to do.
So I think for now we're just in and that's another reason why, honestly, the main reason why moving to closer to the city is where I want to be. I have friends who are producers who just stay out here. They're in Lebanon and they just don't move closer to the city. I know there's a couple of bigger producers in my mind where I don't know if they've said where they live publicly, so I won't dox them.
Yeah.
But they live pretty far out in like Gallatin, and it's that almost a lighter degree of your friend where it's like, I don't want to be available for every single
he wants to be choosy,
which is a thing. Is I've talked to multiple people here. I talked to them before I moved here and tried to get a spread, because I have talked to producers where they are like, I have done 1 to 2 sessions with like quality people every week for the past however many years here, and one of those sessions paid for my house. And like that's how I'm able to cover everything that I'm doing right now. I have also met people who are just like, I did all the sessions, none of them turned into anything, and now I'm only going to do like 1 or 2 sessions a month and freelance record people's albums so that I actually get paid, because you're jumping into a world where there's the potential for every job you do to be a spec deal. And for some people, it's like, you need to be, first of all, there's just risk involved with that. There is a risk that you spend a lot of time working on songs that maybe you like, maybe the artist likes, but then like, it didn't make the cut of the top like 10 that they want to release, or they have a label deal, and like that's just one of the ones that just didn't make the cut for that record. And so now you're assuming this risk But then if it does go through,
The ceiling is
there's
way higher.
the
Yeah.
ceiling's way higher. I've basically hit the ceiling of like freelance stuff, or like what I can hit in the freelance world right now. And that's the thing, that's sort of like the devil's advocate for the writing
Sure.
side, is that if you're just freelancing, like you will never get above like local musicians who want to record their record.
Yeah.
Or like, and not in like a bad sense, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's an element of like, you will hit that level of like a local recording engineer or a local studio, and or producing local records, and you'll get that. Cool, have fun with that. That's basically what you're going to be doing till the end of your career.
And if you're fine with that, like that's cool. But
yes,
if you have
if you have
aspirations to like have Billboard charting music, that's probably not the world you want to stay in for the long term. And finding a way to do kind of what you're talking about, and like getting in the right rooms around the right people, you have to make some sort of shift somewhere.
Yeah. But then you also have to be smart about the kind of rooms that you're going into, because everybody wants to be in a room where something potentially happens.
Sure.
Like everybody's kind of like trying to go for that. But it's you I had a friend who's like a producer, and he said one of the things that made him stop doing sessions is he got invited to a session for like, all right, let's write something for sync. That was the pitch for the meeting. And he slowly went around the room and asked everybody, and realized, oh, nobody here has a sync deal. Nobody has a publishing deal.
How are we getting this placed at all?
What is the strategy for the song after this session? Because nobody here has connections.
Not a well thought out right at all.
and that's the other thing, is because everybody's just willing to get into a session, you do also need to vet out like who are people that just want to have a session because they want to hang out.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of like not fun. People are there to work. I got a buddy who's got a pub deal in Nashville, and he's on the Countryside. He writes on the Countryside. He's on, I think it's Cadillac something. It's, you know, the Ernest, the country singer Ernest.
I think so.
He's kind of like in the Hardy, like he's part of the group that like wrote with Post Malone on Post Malone's record.
Okay.
Like he's part of some of that group with like I think Ashley is a part of that group kind of, and like Ernest is a part of that group, and Hardy kind of became part of that group. It's very like Big Loud label type stuff. He's on that, and he is definitely like the most I am a 9-to-5 working writer that I've ever met in my entire life. And it's really cool. He's got some really dope cuts. He's got some cuts that have like paid him pretty well, at least enough to live at this point, which honestly, it's like, as a songwriter, that's kind of all you can ask for. It's like he's got enough that he's making like a solid living, and it keeps him writing, and that's all. And so he's straight up like pale lunch, goes to the session. He's like going to the 9-to-5, and he goes in 9:00. They write. They take a lunch break. They write another song in the afternoon, and he comes home and he chills. And they cut both like on a demo version, you know, whatever. And I think it's not a producer ran session. It's just like songwriters, guitars type, right? Which is more country, to be honest. Like country writing session is more like songwriter, guitars type stuff. Depending on the genre. And that's more his thing. And he's like straight up, he treats it like a job. He's like, I'm coming to work. This is my time. I don't have time for people who are here to just hang out. Like, it's cool to hang is cool, but like that's inevitable. If you're a cool person, if you're a chill person, to hang is inevitable. But everybody needs to show up and be ready to like, you know, work their butt off.
And I will say, if you do have that energy and you start working with people, you will start to attract that kind of person.
Well, that's why he got a pub deal.
Yeah.
That's why he's writing. He writes with Ernest, and you know, he's got a couple like top 100 country songs, and that's great. And I think my friend's got a cut on a couple of those, so that's awesome. That's how he's making his living. And you know, got a couple radio songs, got a cut on a couple radio placement songs. It's like, hey man, go get your bag, dude. Keep on doing the thing.
Yeah.
Their other roommate is Post Malone's steel player, lap steel
Oh,
player, which is
nice.
very funny. Um, what a weird house. That's such a weird house, man. I
Yeah.
love those dudes. Shout out Jake Gant. He's our guitarist for whenever we play with James live. He's also plays guitar for this guy named Josh Ross, who's in like the country like rock side of things, very like Nickelbacky country type
Mhm.
vibe. Uh, Jake's good people, man. He's good. He's good people. He's always really kind and lets me use his house to nap on if I need a spot to trash at in Nashville. So shout out to them. The other thing, so glad you've made it. Glad you're settled. Sounds like you're not quite 100% settled, but you're getting there.
It's settled enough to where I'm like within 20 miles of where I'm
Sure.
going to be, which is better than where I was a month ago.
Sure. I think it was really funny. Right, this both happened to both of us right before you moved at the same time. We both hit kind of a wall, which
Yep.
was very frustrating for me, and I feel and equally as frustrating for you, I'm sure, because it was both like I think it kind of it's at least for me. I'll speak for myself, and you can maybe speak for how it was for you. But for me, it was very much a like I was doing some content stuff, but then like I hit a wall with that. That was the first thing I hit a wall on. Was like I was doing some content stuff, and I hit a wall on that, and there was no way I could just not. I think I even told you, like, I got on to do a podcast episode, a solo episode, and I literally started recording for like 10 minutes and then just turned it off and deleted it all and like
Yeah.
stopped doing it. I was like, I just can't do it right now. Which then for me turned into a musical block of like, I felt like I was just sitting at my computer, not making anything interesting for a while.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I mean, I was still doing the stuff I needed to do to get my bills paid, but I just hit that like roadblock of I just am not inspired really to do anything right now. I don't know. What was your kind of experience with that?
I mean, it's also funny because I texted you on your birthday,
Yeah.
being like, "Dude, I can't make it."
Yeah.
It was funny. I said happy birthday on Instagram, and then later that day tried to record a video, and then I'm like, "Dude, it's terrible."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Also, happy birthday. Also, happy birthday. Yeah.
But no, for me, it's I almost have to separate it out of like being uninspired,
Sure.
because I've had moments where I don't feel inspired to do stuff, and I have to push through it.
Yeah.
It's
not the right word, I don't think, that I'm feeling.
Yeah, because for me, it wasn't just like I mean, I kind of dissected it after the fact and was able to sort of
Sure.
reverse engineer what was happening. But basically, it was a point of like, I'm taking one step forward in a direction I don't want to go. And that ended up being what it was for me. It was like I literally had a video prepped. I had, highlighted everything. I had everything prepped for an editor. Outlined something in Google Docs, had a session ready to go, and just all of it was there. And I've done it so many times. I just hit record, and I'm just like, this feels agonizing right now. And it wasn't fun.
Nails on a chalkboard. Yep.
It was terrible. And eventually I was just like, what is wrong with me? Can I make videos anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
I've made like close to 100. Can I make these anymore?
That was the same for me for the podcast thing. I literally got on. I was like, I've done almost 150 episodes of a podcast.
Yeah.
And for some reason right now, I can't talk. I can't think. And every part of me I want to throw up standing here trying to talk into a camera right now.
Literally.
And I don't. So was it similarly for you on the music side, or was this mainly on the video side as well?
It was kind of a bit of both. It was just like I didn't have, after sort of dissecting it a little bit, it was either I didn't have a Northern Star that I was really passionate about that I was going towards, or it was the inverse. I had a Northern Star I felt like I needed to go towards, and I actually didn't want to go towards it at all. It was for in both categories of that.
Yeah.
It's and funny enough, I feel like I found the both answers for
Yeah.
both of those right now.
In the same
Where
star.
yeah. Just because what I realized with my YouTube channel, because for anyone who's listening and I haven't seen it, it was a lot of me remaking specific songs from like indie pop artists
Mhm.
and like literally like, okay, here is this Band Camino song. Let me listen to it and recreate it track by track by track and then show you what I've done. And that's how I build the majority of my channel up. I'm at 15,000 subscribers
Mhm.
and it was like, okay, I guess I got to keep doing this. And there was just like an element of like, man, I do not care about recreating one more song
Yeah.
perfectly. And it was like, there was this turning point where I was just like, I would rather just make content about me making my own song
Yeah.
and or like a video of me just making a song from scratch. And I kind of dabbled with that a little bit and views tanked
Yeah.
so quickly. And which makes sense.
Well,
It's like
sure.
this is the
It's
opposite.
not what people signed up for
Yeah,
by
and I
subscribing. Yeah.
respect that. And I think the reason I kept doing the recreations for so long was because I've always had a thought process of I want to respect people subscribe to me.
Sure.
If you've given me a subscription saying I want to see more of this, I want to honor that. But eventually I just got to a point where I'm like, this avenue of just making content, recreating other people's stuff, I don't even want to be here right now, and making another video like this is pushing me even farther down this
Yeah.
road. And I'm like, I don't want to go there. And so recently, what I've started doing is live streaming, and I've live streamed a couple of times. I think I'm probably going to keep it on YouTube just because
Sure.
Twitch is weird and unstable right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Did you have you seen some of the more recent stuff? Like, I think Ludwig and Biggie and Charlie have kind of all talked about.
Yep.
It's been a little bit wacky in the Twitch world recently. So yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with your statement. Also, they just added a thing where you can duplicate your live stream over to Shorts, and people can
Yeah.
click into your live stream from a Shorts feed, which is crazy.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
basically, also with YouTube, you already have your subscriber count, and
Yeah.
even though subscribers don't mean anything on YouTube anymore, it's still more likely that you will be served to somebody who is a subscriber on YouTube than whatever 50 or 100 people who are following you on Twitch.
Yes, true. And even then, it's like the way that I've seen YouTube work from like a small channel perspective, because I have like three that all, and I run one for another company, and from what I've seen with growing channels, it's like the tail is a lot more difficult to deal with on
Mm,
smaller channels because the sample sizes they get are so small in the beginning. So like if you don't make a video that basically every single one of your subscribers watches within the first like 3 or 4 days of you posting that video's probably gonna not do great.
yeah.
And then like maybe in like a month it'll start to get reserved, and then they'll try to find a new audience, but like it's gonna be a rough go of it
Yeah.
early on.
But
So
but basically I found that YouTube felt a little bit more of a natural place to stream. So I streamed and just made a song from scratch. And it's like, this feels like the interlocking of like what I want to be doing for my career
mhm,
in showing that to people. Before, I was trying to get people to hire me to just produce their song for them, which I'm still down to do.
sure,
I'm not shutting down my production business, but there was a side of me that's like I like writing songs. The part that's fun for me, that's
mhm,
always been fun for me, is starting with a very basic idea, starting that and being like, okay, what's the story of this? Like,
sure,
what's the comic book world that this song wants to live in, and start planning that out. And like, oh well, this is. I did a stream where I was inspired by like 5 Seconds of Summer, sort of like industrial pop. And then I was like, oh, well, what if we pull in a little bit of John Wick and a little bit of like absolute Batman?
yeah.
And that made me come alive in a way that I haven't had for my
I
YouTube
also
channel
really
in
like that you
years.
put your references on the screen. I'm probably gonna steal that because that's
Do it.
genius. That's genius. I love that because that immediately makes me go, just like as a viewer, makes me go, how is this gonna be? Like,
Yeah.
what is the amalgamation of these things that I'm looking at right now? Especially as a person who just read the Absolute Batman like first volume,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a wild pull.
Yeah. But that's also the thing is I care so much about like just people who are like regular songwriters and like have a habit of being a songwriter. You're also like pulling in influences like that. Like
Yeah,
that's what sessions feel like most of the time
for
for
sure.
me. Like when I've been in sessions with people where we've all written a song that it's really cool, but like, dude, let's write there was a house that I was at that was doing like a bunch of writing sessions.
Mhm.
And my friend Alex was in one of them. And they were just like, dude, what if they were playing Smash Bros way too long because it's a writing house. And of
Yeah,
course they are.
because of
And they were
yeah.
just like, uh, they wrote like a K-pop song called Three Stock. And it like hit so hard.
That's a great name for a song.
It
Like
went so hard.
if I see that in a track listing, I'm listening to that immediately.
Yeah, but it's like that's a great example of just like the good sessions are like pulling
Yeah.
from something else. And I'm now at a point where I'm not that excited to like sit down with Ableton and just make something for the sake of making something anymore. There needs to be something else like, oh, I saw a movie that like I watched the original Jaws that
Oh
is in
yeah.
re-release in theaters right now. And it's just like I want to write something creepy and like
A
unsettling on a
little
nature
soundtracky.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could even be like what I end up making doesn't even end up sounding like Jaws. It
Yeah,
could be like
sure.
I make it a little more horny and anthemic. There's like a bunch of
where it
brass
starts.
sections.
It starts from that seed of like the Jaws is the beginning and then it goes into other places after that.
Yeah, and like that's the stuff that like if you're a friend with me in real life, I'm obsessed with is
Yeah.
like how like living your life and all those experiences can be turned into art. And I also felt like my content wasn't showing my personality at all.
Yeah.
Like I am a goofy, weird person in real life. And I felt like every video I was doing was like, today I'm going to tell you how I made this
So,
exact drum
dude,
kit.
so let's talk about this because I feel the exact same way, which is like I'm a dork and I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to a lot of stuff. And I do feel like, because I mean, you've seen a lot of the content I've made with like other people that I haven't made by myself. And like, I feel like when I'm making content by myself, it's way more like, here I am explaining a thing. I am very structured. I know what I'm talking about. Dot, 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 dot. Whereas like if I'm even on this podcast or like the one I do with Brooks about video games or the one I do with Aaron about like pop culture stuff, it's like I'm way dumber on those. I'm a way more stupid on those. And I will just make like a weird joke just because yeah, I don't know. I feel like that is something that and maybe it's just because like the topic of what I'm talking about feels more educational, quote unquote. So it's like I feel like I need to be less like I need to be more straightforward.
I think it could also just be that you're a social person. Like
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this when you had your similar sort of crash
Oh,
out
bro.
on content,
Yeah,
where
golly.
you're just like, I literally cannot do this anymore. And like when we talked through what it was, it's just like, oh, it's because you're trying to do it yourself.
Yeah.
The second you throw in one other person doing it with you, it becomes easy for you.
Oh, easily. Well, and also I have this really bad habit of like, if I know somebody's relying on me to do a thing, I will show up and do it and be good at it.
Yeah.
But if I don't have somebody relying on me to do something, I will be lazy about it 100% of the time. And I feel like being beholden to a live stream might be similar to that. If I know there are people watching, I feel like the early days of that might be a little bit more difficult when I know nobody's probably watching. But I don't know. I do feel like though, and thank you for coming on like and doing this with me, the podcast. For those of you who don't know, Seth is going to come on as kind of like kind of a co-host situation.
I've killed Josh. He's not coming back. There can be only one
There can be
guitar
only
playing
one
co-host.
only one guitar playing indie pop guitar playing co-host. No, Josh is really busy, and he's trying to get his studio off the ground with Lee. And they're still working. They're still doing a lot of good stuff, dude. They got a billboard placement, which is
Yeah,
cool.
I went and did a session with them a couple weeks ago. They have.
Did you meet
they
Lee?
Have, yes.
Isn't Lee just the sweetest man?
It was so hard to keep working on stuff because we just kept laughing.
Yeah, dude, Lee's so funny, man. I love that dude. I've been in a good many songwriting sessions with both of them when they were in Atlanta, and I love working with those guys. But yeah, no, they're just very busy, and they're in the middle of trying to figure out a lot of stuff. And Josh is also like holding down a regular job at the same time, and so more power to him. He just does not have the time. And we film podcasts during the day.
Yes.
So, because that's when it works best for me. I try really hard to make my like post 5 or 6 o'clock time like family time for me. So, I appreciate Seth stepping in and helping me. And maybe one day there'll just be 3 of us goofing.
That would be really funny.
That would be great, actually. Just 3 of us being dorks about music stuff on the internet. But to wrap up the thought about like all of the lack, I guess, of inspiration or the wall that we kind of hit, I've kind of come on the other side of it with, having you help me with the podcast. On the content side of things, I've just kind of come to grips with the fact that I know I need to make something, and that maybe the stuff that I want to make and the things that make me excited are just going to take a little bit longer. And I have just like come to grips with the fact that there's no way I'm going to be able to put out weekly stuff right now.
Yes.
And I think that's okay. That's okay. I have a video set up. I've told you this, Seth, but I have a deviated septum. I went to the ENT and they told me I have a deviated septum. I'm going to do a video on like how my vocals change from like A/B testing pre-surgery and post-surgery. And like, I think that'll be interesting. I have a video where I'm doing like a full beginning to end with a client, but like it takes time to get to the end. So like I'm still waiting on a lot of that to happen. And I have these bigger video ideas, or these more, very specific video ideas that on the YouTube side for my personal channel, I'm going to keep making short stuff, and then long form stuff I'm just going to have to. I've just come to grips with the fact that there's no way I'm going to be able to be weekly right now.
Yeah, no. And I think that's the thing that you run into with like season changes is like good content is going to be what do you have the capacity to do in the season that you're in. And I think the kind of rub that we were both running into was like the kind of content, but also the frequency of content that we were doing. We were doing it from like a previous season.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I was in a season like 5 years ago where I was doing a daily TikTok.
Yeah.
And I did it for like a year.
And you're used to that like push and grind of like
push, grind, stuff like that. And now it's like it's not even just like, oh, I don't have the hustle grind set anymore. It's just like I would not see any measurable benefit from doing that, even if I did do it and it did well.
Sure.
Like the payoff that it would pay to would be like affiliate marketing or like getting more freelance production clients.
Sure.
But it's like, okay, well, I just moved to Nashville. I need to focus on like building community here, like locking in with this newer content type that is kind of made to like push me being in rooms a little bit more. Like doing daily short form content isn't really going to help me in those regards.
Sure.
Beyond just like, okay, here's like a short form version of a YouTube video that I just put out and saying, okay, of YouTube videos.
Go watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out good friend John McLucas, who I think made this shift significantly earlier than we did.
Yes.
One, very proud of him. And I want to actually talk about what he's done recently, because I think he's probably a really good testament of he was doing the content grind. I mean, he probably did the content grind harder than both of us.
I used to be one of his editors.
Yeah, he was doing the content grind harder than I think both of us ever could imagine. That dude was doing a podcast, daily TikToks, multiple times a day, and YouTube videos weekly. It was crazy. There was like a point where he was doing all that stuff, and producing for artists and bands and getting in rooms and stuff. And then he put a full stop on all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And since he has put that full stop on all of it, he has done so significantly bigger things.
Yes.
I mean, recently he's broken to the K-pop world, which is a notoriously hard place as an American to break into.
Yes.
And I think he's in as I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think he's production and co-write.
He's got some co-write credits.
I know he's got co-write credits. I think he might have a little bit of production. I don't remember, but he's getting in the rooms with the right people in the K-pop world. And like the guy he got in with and has a cut with is like, I don't know if you know who he is. I kind of understand the K-pop world. He's a massive deal in the K-pop world. He is like second or third generation of K-pop, but like one of the princes of K-pop.
Yeah.
And what a great deal for him, but he would not have had the capacity to do and be gone and do the grind that he was doing previously and also do that stuff. And he still posts TikToks and stuff like that every now and again, but
even like the scale of his TikToks now, it's like,
way
hey, here's a thought I have, and it's literally like, if you have your phone out with TikTok, like I remember when we were in like the really like aggressive part of his career where we were doing like all the nitty-gritty like optimization stuff. It's like, okay, let's try moving this frame of his face a little bit over down here to this point. Let's try to have the editing be a little bit more choppy. We've tried the choppiness for this part of the month. Let's try to do a little bit less choppy. Like we did all of that stuff. Now he's like filming stuff on his phone.
Yeah.
And he's like doing auto captions, and it's fine. It's fulfilling the role that it needs to fulfill.
I think it's also
what he's doing.
Content has also changed a lot for music producers.
Yes.
In the last, I would say, year or two. Like significant shift in the last like year or two. We're not seeing a whole lot of. We're seeing a lot more interesting things, at least from what I've noticed. We're seeing significantly more interesting things. At least the people that are doing it kind of big. I've wanted to see more interesting things. I've wanted to see longer stuff. I've noticed everything's been a lot longer.
Yeah, I think everybody got very homogenized. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about this last time I was on, but it's like everything got very homogenized, like 2020, 2021 TikTok era. And everybody's kind of residually kind of stayed in that world. And I think now people are like, okay, enough. Like, let's get something a little bit more interesting. I think also TikTok, just in the music world, it doesn't have the same power that it used to have.
No, it's like
people aren't getting signed off of it.
No.
People aren't getting discovered as well.
You do kind of have to have. Weirdly, they're not getting signed off of it, but you do have to have a presence there in order to be signed.
Which is so
stupid,
counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's like a double standard.
I am interested to see, because officially TikTok has been bought by, or at least I think the app part has been bought by an American company, and they will be migrating everything to a new app. So,
that's going to be probably take a big hit.
It will be interesting to see if this brings.
It's not the first time that it's happened, though, because
it used to be Musical.ly.
Yeah, and I was on it when it was Musical.ly the first time, and because I think Gary Vee bought a stake in it, and I was like, interesting, I'm gonna get on it and see what it is. And so I already had an app, and then it like auto changed to TikTok, so like I never had to change my app. The app that I had just changed to TikTok.
Yeah, so we'll see how that migration happens, because I mean, I don't see any world where it's just like it just deletes all the progress in the videos and the follower count you have.
No, I wouldn't.
But it will be interesting to see how like I doubt there's gonna be a 1-for-1. It's literally exactly the same as TikTok, and like the algorithm is perfectly the same. The discoverability
Yeah.
is exactly the same. The features are exactly the same. I am interested to see if there is a sort of like almost like new life that TikTok has like
As it
this long
changes.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's almost like a fresh start
Hmm.
with TikTok and short form content, but now everybody has had the experience of having TikTok for the past like what like 5
5 or 6 years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like 2018 was like its beginning in America as TikTok, and then kind of took off in 2020.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize it had gotten bought. That's actually pretty cool. I need to look that up
I
because
don't remember what they said. They're going to be renaming it to something other than TikTok, which is interesting.
yeah, that's a choice. That's a choice. Yeah, TikTok lives US China deal 15 hours ago for an app to operate in the US. Oracle Silver Lake Consortium to control 80% stake in TikTok US. Interesting.
Yeah. So
I
I think that
will.
had something to do with like it being banned in the US and then
Yeah, a US company
Trump
needed to have.
overriding that, and then now they're trying to like get a loophole around it where it's like if you're technically an American company.
They needed to have an American company or American stakeholders own over 50% of the company.
Okay.
That was the rule that had to happen. But I think weirdly, like that one day where TikTok was down and everybody was freaking out and did
Yeah.
actually kind of irreparable damage.
Yeah. There is funny because ever since then, I think people not even just like the technical side of the app. I think people's willingness to commit to it as a platform has been shaken
Mm-hmm.
because they're just like, oh, I could either do this or I could just post Instagram reels, and
Well,
Instagram reels will probably get an equivalent amount of
and
interest.
YouTube
And
Shorts on top of that got way better after that point too.
yeah,
You're right. No,
but
it's
you're just like, okay, the United States is not going to ban Google or Meta.
exactly. Yeah. They're not. Yeah, those are kind of locked in. Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that for sure. Well, so Seth, if people want to check you out now with your new thing, are you live streaming regularly, or is it more of just like a for right now when you can type deal?
I'm gonna be doing it weekly on Friday mornings for me at least at 9 a.m. CDT.
Okay.
Assuming I remember CDT because
Yeah.
I'm a PST boy in a CDT world,
Yeah.
but not gonna be doing it this week just because I mean by the time this episode comes out it won't matter. But I'm moving
Sure.
again this week, so but after that the goal will be to do like a weekly live stream Friday mornings 9 a.m.
But you
CDT.
pre-schedule them, so if they're subscribed or if they want to go subscribe to you, like they'll see the pre-schedule like thing come up,
Yes.
and like you can hit the little notify me,
Yeah,
whatever.
hit that little notify me button because if
It actually does help.
nobody says they want to see it, then you're just like, okay, maybe I won't.
Yeah. How have you? Okay, this is a question for you before we go because I've streamed some. How have you found streaming in the morning works on YouTube? Decent.
I think it's pretty decent. I think the biggest thing there's two main factors to consider. One of them is just having a regular time.
Yeah.
Anytime is just better than hyper fixating on like when exactly you're doing it.
Sure.
So if people just know, okay, this is the time that so and so streams, they'll just show up to the stream. But beyond that, the main strategy that is funny enough from somebody who most people don't trust anymore, Pirate Software.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be streaming at the same time everyone else is streaming,
Which would be post 6:00.
Yeah,
During the weekdays.
And post 6:00, but also just like you can look on like Twitch tracker or things like that. You can see like the whole world kind of like fluxes up and then fluxes down and then fluxes up and then fluxes down. If you want to have the opportunity, a good strategy for like getting some people to like give you a chance is to be almost like a waiting room for some other streamer that goes on after you. So like for me, like biggest music streamers would be like T-Pain or I
Bishu.
guess Bishu or something like that. And so I'm not as concerned. Like you're never going to find a time where no one else is streaming.
Sure.
That's not possible. But you know, if you're trying to start as a brand new streamer and you're following the exact same stream schedule as Ludwig,
Yeah.
you're just guaranteeing that nobody who's a Ludwig viewer is ever going to see you.
Yeah. True. When do Bishu and T-Pain stream?
I don't think I've noted it down. I looked at their times. It's pretty on par with like Twitch tracker and when most people go.
So like that post 6, post 7 p.m. type.
Yeah,
deal?
there are also some people who are just like, don't even worry about stuff like that. Just do it around your work schedule and when you're able to do it. Which honestly is the main thing that I did. I'm like, I want Fridays to be my content day. I will just stream kind of like 10 a.m. and stream
and I
goes
guess
maybe 2 or 3 hours.
If you're doing it on YouTube, you're actually not prioritizing the live. You're prioritizing the replay more than anything. And you can always cut it up.
I think my replay of my last stream, it got like 200 views or something like that.
Solid.
Which you know, I think the whole VOD didn't get, or the whole stream didn't get that many initial viewers. And it was also like, I haven't built up a precedent of I'm streaming every week yet.
Yeah.
This is my first time streaming after like being gone from YouTube for a long time. This is like, it's like the first start of it, and it still is getting a little bit more reception. So I think, yeah, the regularity part of it is the most important part, and making sure that it's at a time where you can consistently hit that time.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because that's something that's been kind of throwing me off with it. It's like technically I'm an optimizer. I'm a D&D optimizer, Seth. Yeah. You would hate me in a D&D game. I am a guy.
You would hate me. I'm going to be the guy with a twiddly mustache who's throwing Molotovs everywhere.
Yeah, I am the very much the min-maxer when it comes to D&D. And so that kind of seeps into other aspects of my life. And so I always think about like, what's the most optimal way to do this? And I guess the most optimal way to do it is to just do it pretty consistently. Yes. That's actually the most optimal way when you think about it. Well, dude, Seth, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being here. I do want to, let people know we're going to try to do this as regularly as we can. Yes. For my sake, I think we're going to slide it back to twice a month rather than weekly.
Yes.
Also for your sake as well.
I am moving.
Yeah,
please.
You are moving. Let's not do that. Yeah.
I am moving less than 2 weeks after already moving.
Exactly. So we're going to cut it back. I took the last couple months off for my sake, but I think we're going to be back to bi-monthly. I guess that would be bi-weekly.
It would be, you could just say if it's
bi-weekly, twice a month. Twice a month. Yeah, every other month, every other week. Sorry, every other week is the goal to do that. I'm gonna bring
next week to see if we're good at counting or describing how often our regularity will be.
Exactly. So we're gonna do that. I am also gonna try to bring on some people. And try to just bring on maybe like Jesse to talk about some stuff, because Jesse's had some pretty big stuff happen. Have you met Jesse Shirts?
I think we chatted one time.
He's awesome. I feel like you and him would get along really well with talking music stuff and Ableton stuff, because he's a fellow Ableton guy, but he does country all in Ableton. So I feel like you would have a lot of interesting questions about that. But yeah, I think we're gonna have some other people on. Matthew Parker, all those kind of things some of those people have already said that they would be down. So we're gonna try to bring them on when we can, but the regular schedule is going to be every other week at minimum. So thanks for coming, Seth. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this with me. Get me back on the game. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Josh is dead to me.
Amazing.